On a foggy night, Prince Qian Ye-Woon runs and falls off a cliff. He broke his leg, and his pursuers caught up to him. Ye-Woon asks why he is being chased. The pursuers explain that even if he doesn't have a talent, he is still a prince with rights to the throne. It also mentioned that he has peasant blood, implying that his mother is not nobility. He got furious and brought out a knife. One of the pursuers thought he might have learned martial arts. Seeing that the prince is struggling, he thought that this would be a fun hunt. The pursuers all attacked Ye-Woon at the same time. He fought back but was quickly apprehended. While being grabbed, Ye-Woon brings out a hidden knife and kills one of them. The pursuers are surprised. One of them attacks Ye-Woon, knocks him to the ground, and stabs him. With a hole in his stomach, Ye-Woon is quite relieved. At least he killed one of them. One of them stepped on his wound, and one thought of killing him immediately. But suddenly, a flash of light appears and kills the pursuer for stepping on Ye-Woon. A person in modern clothes appeared, and they asked for his identity. The man attacks and starts killing the pursuers one by one. One of the pursuers is confused as to what is happening. Seeing Ye-Woon dying, he tries to retreat, but the unknown person kills him. Ye-Woon laughs at their misery. The unknown person calls him an ancestor, but Ye-Woon can't see him properly. It looks like the unknown person is also being chased. He brought out something and injected it into Ye-Woon. After that, he asks Ye-Woon to make his descendants' life easier. He tells Ye-Woon to use the nanomachine properly and then vanishes. Ye-Woon thought of him as crazy, but then he heard a strange voice in his head. It was the nanomachine that was activating. Martial arts were invented for self-defense, but they evolved into something used for killing. These martial arts are passed down for generations, and masters in this field are called the Murim people. These people formed clans and were divided into two forces, justice and evil. But between these two forces, another group that only seeks strength appears, called the demonic cult. Ye-Woon is the illegitimate child of the cult's lord. Ye-Woon woke up and was confused as to why he was still alive. He gags and discovers black spots and a bad smell all over his body. A strange voice calls him master. He panics and the voice tells him to calm down. It introduces itself as Sky Corporation's Nanomachine. Ye-Woon misunderstood it as an evil god. He kneels and asks. The Nanomachine explains that it was not the one that saved him from the assassins, but the one who healed him. Ye-Woon is confused. The Nanomachine modifies its mode to fit the era and culture. It then sends information to Ye-Woon's brain, and that makes him puke. It advises him that a second dose won't make him dizzy again. Ye-Woon now understands the concept of a nanomachine. It won't come out of his body until he dies. Guard Jang with Dr. Bake knocks on the door. Ye-Woon tells the nanomachine to quiet down, but it confirms that they can communicate through his thoughts. Ye-Woon lies down and Guard Jang notices his bad smell. Dr. Bake checks his pulse and notices that his body is fully cleansed. He now has the perfect body for martial arts. Nanomachine confirms that it was the one that extracted the waste from his body and then reshaped his blood vessels, joints, and muscles. It confirms that it is a machine, not an evil god. Dr. Bake prescribes an energy tonic for him to take and leaves. He wonders how a person can change like that. He knew the prince when he was a kid and speculated on a lot of theories. Ye-Woon tries to thank Guard Jang, but he is told to take a bath first. While bathing, Ye-Woon asks the nanomachine things about healing. He cuts himself and the wound immediately heals. His body also became more muscular thanks to the nanomachine. To make it easier, he simply named the nanomachine Nano. He arrives at the study, and Nano suggests he flip through a book. He flips through the pages, and Nano scans everything. It transfers the information to Ye-Woon's brain. Ye-Woon recites the contents, and he understands everything from the book. Nano also corrected some errors in the book's content. Ye-Woon realizes that he can learn martial arts and become stronger than anyone else in the demonic cult academy. In another place, Qian Mukum criticizes the assassin's failure. He then thought of killing Yanwu in the academy instead. Time passes by, and it is time for Ye-Woon to attend the academy. Ye-Woon watches the Guard Jang train. He wants to learn Guard Jang's martial arts, but he is not supposed to learn anything before he attends the academy. Nano suggests scanning Guard Jang's movements. Nano can scan someone's martial arts and transfer the information to Ye-Woon's head. After some hesitation, he scans Guard Jang's moves, and Nano transfers them to Ye-Woon's brain. He immediately tries to perform Guard Jang's movements. He is surprised at how precise the copied martial arts are, but his body can't keep up with them. Nano suggests restructuring his muscles. Nano initiates and administers anesthesia. Guard Zhang cooks something that Yo-Woon likes. He recalls Lady He's words, Yo-Woon's mother's request to protect Yo-Woon. Suddenly, he hears Yo-Woon scream. Guard Zhang runs and sees him unconscious. He then notices some footprints on the wooden floor. He recognizes that it is his movements. Yo-Woon wakes up and swears he won't do it again. He tries to perform Guard Zhang's martial arts again and realizes they are now more precise and powerful. He performs the first and second formations, but it leaves a footprint on the floor. He panics and hears Guard Zhang. Guard Zhang enters and sees Yo-Woon, who moves the table. Yo-Woon notices the foods are all his favorites. He laments the fact that this is the last time he will be able to eat Guard Zhang's cooking. He eats and thanks Guard Zhang afterward. Guard Zhang didn't hesitate to ask Yo-Woon about learning his dagger technique. Yo-Woon panics and Guard Zhang moves the table, showing the most recent footprint. In Murim, stealing someone's martial arts is a crime. As he worries, Guard Zhang compliments him. In the first place, Guard Zhang wants to teach him. He also gives Yo-Woon the energy flow method for the dagger technique. Yo-Woon silently cries as Guard Zhang remembers the time when Lady had died. Guard Zhang tells Yo-Woon that he won't be with him after he enters the academy and asks him to get stronger. Yo-Woon knows that he still has a place to go back to. At the academy, a lot of disciples of the demonic cult gather. A grumbling master appears, and it is Lee Ha-myung, the Fire King and Right Guardian. Ha-myung notices the kids in front of the crowd. They are the Lord's descendants from the 6 main clans under the demonic sect. Ha-myung notices that someone is missing. A while ago, Yo-Woon's candidate name tag was missing. Back to the present, Yo-Woon is standing at the very back of the crowd. Ha-myung notices him. Horns blow, and the Lord is coming out. With heavy atmosphere, masters appear, including the Crazy Blade and Left Guardian, Sub-myung. The Great Guardian Mirai Kim glares at the 2 guardians, and then Chin Yu-jung, the demonic cult lord, appears and everyone gets tense. Mirai Kim shouts for everyone to be quiet. Chin Yu-jung then welcomes everyone using Naigong and tells everyone to train hard for the cult. The Lord looks to the side and stares at Yo-Woon with cold eyes. Ha-myung announces the start of the admission process. They are given 4 years to finish 6 stages, with only 1 chance to take the test at each stage. If you don't pass, you get expelled. Chien Kyung-woon tries to ask a question, but Ha-myung just calls him a bastard. The privileges they had from the 6 clans were gone the moment they entered the academy. Ha-myung threatens to expel him, making the other candidates laugh. But Ha-myung understands and explains that having 1 chance is not unfair because the benefits are special. The first benefit is the Black Dragon Ball that helps a person gain 20 years worth of Naigong. If you pass all stages, you'll have 120 years of Naigong and be a high expert. Yo-Woon sees this as a chance. The second benefit is secret martial arts books that they can read in the library once they pass a test. But Ha-myung tells them not to get their hopes up. Sub-myung criticizes him for increasing and then decreasing morale. The last benefit is a rank that they never had before. Every time they pass a test, they get a rank. Sub-myung claims that it is impossible to pass the 6th stage. Right now, all of them start at the same rank. After that, Ha-myung announces the formation of dorm groups by doing the first test now. The disciples are surprised by the sudden test. They need their basic skills and Naigong to be tested. Yo-Woon doesn't have Naigong because of the oath with the 6 clans. Mu Kum laughs at Yo-Woon. Suddenly, Hang So-yu from the Sound clan appears and will be the one to watch over the first test. You need to endure So-yu's musical energy wave to pass the test. Yo-Woon panics. So-yu starts to play and most disciples start to fall. The 6 clan candidates are unbothered because they already had Naigong and expect Yo-Woon to fall early. Suddenly, So-yu starts plucking faster and more intensely. So-yu is frustrated that Yo-Woon is still standing. Yo-Woon also wonders why he is still okay. It turns out that Nano blocked the harmful sound waves. It stopped his hearing. So-yu gazes intensely at him, and Nano suggests blocking his vision, which Yo-Woon declines. Ha-myung feels So-yu's impatience. He also wonders why Yo-Woon is still standing despite being Naigong-less. It made him excited. On the other hand, other disciples are starting to fall and Mu Kum wonders why So-yu looks angry. He realizes something and looks behind him. He was surprised, and that caught the attention of the other candidates. They then see Yo-woon looking fine and unbothered. Mook-kum assumes that he had Nigong. Yo-woon notices them and Nano confirms that they are angry. He realizes that it will be weird to pass the test without injuries. He asks Nano to give him internal injuries. Nano worries, but Yo-woon claims that it is only a performance. Elder So-yu is frustrated and increases the intensity of the sound waves. Ha-myung deems it dangerous. Cheon-jong's son bleeds and Ha-myung tells So-yu to stop. The disciples are relieved that it is over. So-yu realizes that she went overboard and blames it on Yo-woon. Just then, Yo-woon coughs up blood, and the others are surprised. Yo-woon got mad at Nano and thought he was dying. He coughs up more blood, and Ha-myung runs to him. Yo-woon tells Nano not to heal him yet. Ha-myung grabs him and realizes that Yo-woon doesn't have Nigong. He orders others to bring Yo-woon to the infirmary. Yo-woon asks Nano to heal him. Ha-myung tells So-yu that she did too much, almost killing Yo-woon, who doesn't have a Nigong. She was surprised. Ha-myung claims Yo-woon kept the oath, but So-yu exclaims that is impossible. Ha-myung claims that Yo-woon endured it all with just his sheer will. He plans to have him as his student, but he can't go against the 6 clans. So-myung became interested, but Ha-myung simply told him to find another place to drink. The two argue until they release intense energy that makes the disciples panic. They stop and So-myung leaves. So-myung mocks the fallen disciples and admires Yo-woon's determination. Baek Jong-myung, a doctor at the Demonic Academy, is overjoyed to have a patient. He is surprised to see Yo-woon's condition. The guards explain that it is an internal injury. As the guards leave, one notices that Yo-woon has a better complexion now. The doctor checks on Yo-woon, but he continues to fake his sleep. Jong-myung still finds it weird after seeing the amount of blood. As he is going to get some acupuncture, the wall explodes. So-myung appears. So-myung notices Yo-woon. Yo-woon notices the guardian and the smell of alcohol. So-myung approaches him and asks why he is pretending to be asleep. He used his powers to raise Yo-woon. He threatens to hit him if he continues. Yo-woon opens his eyes and asks how he knew. So-myung laughs out loud and claims that an experienced warrior can tell based on the sound of the breathing. Yo-woon was surprised, and Nano explained that his breathing was indeed unnatural. So-myung suddenly praises him in his will. Jong-myung warns him and Yo-woon suddenly coughs up blood. So-myung releases his Nigong and announces that he wants Yo-woon as his student. That surprises the doctor and patient. Yo-woon gets confused and asks if So-myung is fine going against the 6 clans. But So-myung is unbothered. Yo-woon thought of it as an opportunity, but it can also be a trap. Yo-woon doubts him, and So-myung gets mad. To clear those doubts, So-myung gave him a piece of paper. So-myung informs him that Yo-woon needs it to survive at the academy. To avoid falling behind, a sheer will is not enough, and he must learn to use Nigong. Will Yo-woon be able to raise his status in the academy and survive? If you want a part 2 of this manhwa, comment down below, and make sure to like this video and subscribe. Until next time.